Hi and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm just doing a video in response to the KYD channel who asked me to do a top 5 ranking of John Byrne covers. So I went looking through my collection, and as you can imagine, trying to whittle it down to 5 is difficult. So what I've done is I've taken a selection of John Byrne covers here, and I'm going to decide myself, and you can watch while I'm doing this, of who gets into the top 5. Very difficult for me to do this. Anyway, I'm going to get straight to it. One of the nicest collections that I have in my collection is the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, and this is the original version, the original run, which was supposed to end after issue 12, but they extended it for another 3 issues, and those 3 issues were drawn by John Byrne. And these are wraparound covers, which means that, well, you know yourself what a wraparound cover is, but and this interlocks with the next issue, which is issue 14, and this is the official handbook of the Marvel Universe number 13, and this is from 1982, and I don't know, it's a nice cover. And so that's issue 13, and I'm going to put this bad boy back into its bag. So there's issue 14, and this is of course the Book of the Dead and Inactive, and you can see Phoenix there and Warlord, Nova. So let me just pull this out and show you the wraparound cover. Isn't that pretty nice? So you can put these two together and you get, with issue 13 and the interlock together, so that's pretty nice. And then the next one I have after that is just issue 15, and that's the Book of Weapons, Hardware and Paraphernalia, and this is another wraparound cover. Just get it out of its. So do any of these deserve to be in the top 5? I just look at all the characterizations there. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And so all 3 covers, of course, done by John Byrne, and yeah. And I do like my official handbook of the Marvel Universe. And then when the official handbook of the Marvel Universe deluxe version was issued, John Byrne did a series of covers for this run also. And again, I'm just going to, this is John Byrne and Joseph Rubinstein. Look at that. And of course those covers all interlocked together. I don't think John Byrne completed this. He did a series of them. I don't know how far up he got, I forget. But I know that at that time he left to go to do Superman with DC. So some other artist was bought in just to finish it up. But yeah, I love my official handbook of the Marvel Universe. So that's the deluxe version, and they're my 3 original versions that I have. So any of these could be in the top 5, but I'm not too sure. Next up is Fantastic Four 265, and this is the issue in which the Fantastic Four return from Secret Wars, from Battle World. The Thing doesn't come back, and instead there's a new member of the Fantastic Four, and look at the green question mark, and of course we all know it's She-Hulk. She-Hulk's addition to the Fantastic Four was brilliant. Genius move by John Byrne. She fitted in so well, and yeah. Did I miss a thing? Sometimes, but I thought that she did a fantastic job. I think John Byrne did really well to blend her into the Fantastic Four. So that's a lovely cover. I really like this one too. So what else do I have? Okay. Alpha Flight number 3. And I think this is the first time I ever saw a negative space cover for a comic, but definitely it was just to see something like this was absolutely pretty amazing. And there's Aurora, and yeah, great run on Alpha Flight that John Byrne did, and just, I think at this stage this is kind of an iconic cover. Absolutely love it. And just to join that negative space, so that's a negative space there, is Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, number 101. And this is also a negative space cover, which you know. But as you can see, I think John Byrne requested from Marvel that this also be negative space, but just black and white. But I think Marvel refused to do that, allow that to happen. So just like in this cover, the title kind of, because this one's in negatives, like this black and white here, but in the corner box, but in the corner box Alpha Flight, and the title itself, they're still colored. So yeah. So I think one of these, I'm going to put them aside because one of them definitely deserves to be in the top 5. And what else am I going to put in? This is Marvel Age number 2, and this was the preview for Alpha Flight, and this was a different cover that was used than issue 1 of Alpha Flight. And I think this was the one that John Byrne originally was going to use, but it was, I think that the other one with all the other heroes was the favorite, but I like this one the best, just showcasing Alpha Flight by themselves. So yeah, another beautiful cover, and from Marvel Age, and John Byrne did a series of these for Marvel Age of different covers. I think there's some in this. Let's see, what else am I going to pull out of here? Well, here's another one. It's the West Coast Avengers 43, and yeah, to rescue the Vision. There you've got Hawkeye, Tigra, Wonder Man, the Wasp, and of course the Scarlet Witch. And yeah, this was John Byrne when he was writing and penciling the West Coast Avengers, and of course the dismantling of the Vision, and that whole storyline with Wanda, which was received well but not so well either. It depended on your point of view, but he really deconstructed that relationship between the Vision and Scarlet Witch. And yeah, but this was back in the day. This was 1989. Yeah, I love that cover. So let's see, what else do I have here? Just random, I'm just picking them out. Daredevil number 200. Daredevil and Bullseye. Kind of a darker and a grittier cover by John Byrne. But yeah. And this was coming near the end of Frank Miller's run on Daredevil after Frank Miller had finished up. And so yeah, that grittiness still remained, and that's shown here in this cover. So Bullseye, of course, given his due by Daredevil. So a beautiful cover. Stay with me, folks. If you're watching this video and thinking, what the heck, just stay with me. Another one, Marvel Age number 37, and this is just celebrating 25 years of Marvel, and you can see all the characters there, and yeah, John Byrne again delivering. But I'm not too sure whether this belongs in the top 5. Again, here we go. What else? What else am I going to pull out of the hat? Why not Avengers 186? Wanda and Mordred, and there's those iconic bobbleheads of the Avengers drawn by John Byrne. Just look, this is an iconic cover for the Avengers. Back in the day in 1979, my goodness, like the Avengers at this time were on fire. You had George Perez doing artwork for the Avengers, and he was at the top of his game. And he took a break for like a year or something, or for whatever, and John Byrne stepped in and did beautiful run on the Avengers at this time, and then George Perez picked it up then to issue 202. So this this is peak John Byrne back in the day, just firing in all cylinders. So I think I'm going to put this maybe into the top 5 pile, because you do what you do. And yeah, I have two other covers that I really like, but they're not going to go into the top 5. And first of all is Marvel Age number 30, and look, there's Doctor Doom, a jar of ants, and there's all the heroes having a kind of a barbecue, or they're hanging out together and chilling because it's a summertime. So Doctor Doom, of course, is going to let these ants out to annoy them. So there's something it's a fun issue and a fun cover, but it's not top 5. And in that run also, just another fun one is Marvel Age number 70, and it's where She-Hulk comes to visit the West Coast Avengers, but she's only there to get some sunshine. She's not joining the team. But inside, of course, John Byrne talks about his plans for the West Coast Avengers. So that's pretty cool. Next up is, this might make one of the top 5, and this is Iron Man 197 by John Byrne. Just the cover alone, not the interiors. This is just, I love this cover. Look at that. So I'm going to put this into the top 5 pile, and then figure it out after that. Another one that's going into the top 5 pile is this one, Iron Fist number 8. John Byrne did 15 issues of Iron Fist, and he also did Iron Fist for the first time in Marvel Preview, and he never got to do one cover except this one. And you know, it just goes to show he was delivering these beautiful interior arts during his run in Iron Fist. But the majority of the covers, I think, were done by Gil Kane and Dave Cockrum. And as good as Dave Cockrum and Gil Kane are, they are not at the level of John Byrne. So he never got to do the covers except this one. And this is going into the top 5 because this is iconic. Iron Fist. Absolutely beautiful. Stay with me, folks. I'm going to try to run through these, all right, because, you know, I'm on my holidays at the moment. I'm taking it easy. I'm sitting here. I'm going through these back issues that I have of John Byrne, and yeah, it's a nice way to spend a morning. And it's another nice morning here in the Midlands of Ireland, and everything's quiet, and it's just nice to be able to sit down with your comics. Another one, here's one that I'm going to show you, and it's The Web of Spider-Man number 6. So there's Spider-Man in his red and blue uniform, but there he is in his black. And what's great about this is that there's a second issue in the Amazing Spider-Man 268, and they both interlock together. And it just so happens that I have that also. And you put them together, and there you have a John Byrne double goodness in Web of Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man, and these both lock together. So it's like Spider-Man goes from his red and blue to his black costume. And this is the Secret Wars 2, the Beyonder turns the building into solid gold, and you know the Kingpin's after it, and Spider-Man's trying to sort it all out. So beautiful, beautiful covers. So that's 2 for the price of 1. But I don't think, as brilliant as they are, and as lovely as an interlocking covers, I'm not going to put that on my pile for top 5. But this one is definitely going to go in into my top 5, and that's Marvel Fanfare 29. I mean, this Marvel Fanfare is, the interiors are done by John Byrne and the cover, and this is probably one of John Byrne's finest works. And this is when he left his short run on the Incredible Hulk. He had done 6 issues, but he had left then because of, I think he was having difficulties with the editor. Was it Jim Shooter? Probably. And so this was an unreleased comic that they had of the Incredible Hulk, which was going to be his final, or it was going to be the next issue before he left the title. So they reprinted it in Marvel Fanfare. So this is one of the top 5 because it's absolutely beautiful. Just John Byrne, just able to deliver. And we're still going strong. Let's go for Marvel Age number 14. Stay with me, folks. Here we've got a self-portrait by John Byrne, cover by John Byrne, with John Byrne and the Fantastic Four. So how cool is that? And this is Marvel Age number 14, talking about the Fantastic Four, and isn't that cool? So there's the Byrne himself. So it's not going into my top 5, but I'm putting it there. But this Fantastic Four comic, number 236, Fantastic Four by John Byrne, is definitely going into my top 5. Absolutely. Look at all those characters. I mean, it's just a beautiful cover there by Byrne, and celebrating the Fantastic Four. It's the 20th anniversary, and yeah, no better artist to do the tribute than Byrne himself. So that's definitely going into the top 5. One of my favourite John Byrne runs is his Marvel team up with Spider-Man. And again, a lot of the covers I think are not done by John Byrne. A few are, including this one here. And look, this is just, it's the Man Thing, it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going down the river with his web canoe and a stick to face off with the Man Thing. And look, this run is one of my favourite runs. It's up there with the X-Men. It's one of my favourite runs by John Byrne. We've got John Byrne, Chris Claremont, and it's just, I think it's great to see Spider-Man interacting with different heroes, and of course with Chris Claremont and Byrne, just a magical quality to it. And there was a few other, I think, there's the cover which I have with Craven and Tigra. That's another beautiful cover. But this one I just picked out because it was so quirky, but it's not going into my top 5 pile. But this one is, stay with me folks again. I'm rattling and going on about stuff. I hope you're able to keep up with me. Captain America 248 with Dragon Man. And from the nostalgia point of view of being a child when I read this for the first time, it's going into my top 5. Captain America by John Byrne. The only thing about it is that it was cut short. Again, there was problems with Jim Shooter, I think was the editor at the time, and he wanted self-contained stories, and John Byrne and I think it was Joseph Rubinstein was doing the art for this, and they wanted to do kind of long series issues, and it's just my favourite Captain America run, cut short. And look, this is what we're getting. And John Byrne could draw Superman and Captain America with that gravitas and with that kind of elevation of making them superheroes as only Byrne can. And there's Dragon Man eating his shield as if it's a biscuit or a cookie. So I mean, like, folks, yeah, that's iconic. That's going into the top 5. And we're near the end. I only have 2 more left. So what's it going to be? Well, it's a recent edition of mine, and it's the Amazing Spider-Man 189. And again, it's just Spider-Man from that era from 1978. The way Byrne drew Spider-Man in the 70s is just my favourite Spider-Man. Up there with John Romita Sr. But it's just, Byrne was just, these stay ingrained in my head. And I'm sure it's the same for like anyone today who's younger and picking up comics for the first time. You know, they're going to have a selection of other artists that are going to turn out to be their favourite. But you know, Byrne and Perez, they stood the test of time, and they just had longevity in their career, like 50 years. And now John Byrne is going to release X-Men Elsewhere next year. So like, you know, respect to these great giants. So that. I have one more. What's it going to be? Well, you know yourself. It's going to have to be a special double-size issue with, of course, what do we have up here? The Marvel comic could be worth $2,500 to you, which, you know, we all have them in our different titles. I have one with Captain America, the X-Men, I think there's one with the Fantastic Four. There's a whole series of comics I have that have this banner on top, which takes away from the art. But hey, this is a double-size issue, cover by John Byrne, interior by John Byrne, Phoenix Must Die. This is iconic, of one of the greatest comic runs ever. So that's going into my top 5. So what do I have in my top 5, folks? I have the X-Men 137, Amazing Spider-Man 189, Captain America number 248, Fantastic Four 236, Marvel Fanfare number 29, the Hulk, Iron Fist, and this is number 8, Iron Man 197, beautiful cover, the Avengers 186, and we've got Alpha Flight number 3, negative space cover, and finishing up with Spider-Man 101, negative space cover. So now I'm going to see if I can pick out 5 of these. I have so many John Byrnes that when I was going through, I was like, what do I pick? So top 5, I'm definitely going to put this negative space of Spider-Man, I think. Black costume, negative space, that's definitely going to, I'll put Alpha, it doesn't take away from Alpha Flight because this is an amazing cover too, but I'm not going to put both in because they're both negative space. Number 2 that I'm definitely putting into this is Iron Fist number 8, because it's 1970s John Byrne goodness, and he actually gets to do a cover of the interior comic that he's doing, so he deserves alone for that to be in my top 5. Oh folks, this is not easy. This is not easy. I have to do this. I have to put us into the top 5. 29, Marvel Fanfare. This comic alone is probably one of Byrne's greatest works. Beautiful, beautiful artwork on the Hulk. So that's going into my top 5. 2 more. I have 2 more to pick. Folks, what am I going to pick? Look, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in the Fantastic Four 236. Look at all the characters that you're getting. John Byrne goodness has to happen. So I'm going to stick this bad boy in here. So I have one more to pick from the batch. It has to be this one, doesn't it? It has to be. It has to be. This is almost legendary at this stage, you know. So there you have it, folks. X-Men 137. So I'm just going to recap my top 5 and KYD channel. I hope you enjoyed this video for you, and I hope you're happy with the top 5 I picked. I'm just going to briefly go over them again. In no order between 1 and 5. It's just 101, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. X-Men 137. Fantastic Four 236. Marvel Fanfare number 29. And Iron Fist number 8. And there's no DC, I don't have any DC covers in here at the moment. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. I don't have any DC covers on here at the moment, but I do have the Legends cover with the different DC characters. But 70s and 80s Marvel with John Byrne is probably my favorite, and definitely this is what I have to pick from the hat. So if you've stuck this long with my channel, I thank you, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're all having a very peaceful and happy holidays at this time, and spending time with your family, getting the chance to read some comics. I'm going to do a series of other videos coming up. I'm just going to pick stuff out and look at it, look at things. I'm going to do another video on Absolute Batman, because why not? And yeah, I'm just getting the time here to do longer videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great holiday. Check out my channel. I've got some other videos coming up, and I hope you enjoy them. Take care and have a great day.